Okay, good morning and welcome to this week's edition of NCompass Live. I am your host, Krista Burns, here at the Nebraska Library Commission. NCompass Live is the Commission's weekly online event where we cover anything that may be of interest to librarians. We have topics about anything. We do these sessions every Wednesday morning, live at 10 a.m. Central Time. But if you are unable to attend any of our live sessions, we do record them, so all of our previous sessions are available on our website. We do all sorts of things: presentations, book reviews, interviews, Q&A sessions, whatever it is we can think of, come up with that might be of interest, as I said. And we have presentations by our commission staff, but we also bring in guest speakers as well, which we have this morning. We have Susan Franklin from Perkins Library at Hastings College here in Hastings, Nebraska. Hello, Susan.
Hi, everyone.
Hello. And she is going to update us on using Facebook in your library. She actually did this for us, I don't even remember when it was, last year or the year before. It's been a while. So we figured it would definitely be time for an update to it. So, Susan, you can go ahead and take it away.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for committing to listening to me blather on about one of my pet projects, Facebook. And we really, it might just be natural environment to use Facebook with an academic college library, but we really have had a lot of success with it for many, many reasons, and so I'm going to share kind of our experience with you today. It will be sort of a how we done it good sort of presentation, but hopefully it will give you some ideas as to how you could use Facebook in your own library. So first, what is Facebook? And there we go. It was founded in 2004, which seems kind of crazy because I remember I was teaching English composition in the classroom on the college level when it first became publicly available, and I remember several students, it was an actual, they were addicted to it. They could not leave Facebook, and so I remember I had several excuses like, I know I shouldn't have, but I skipped class because I couldn't tear myself away from Facebook. True story, really happened. And now it seems odd to me that 8 years have gone by that it's been around that long. But basically, Facebook is a company, a social media tool that millions of people use every day to keep up with friends, to upload an unlimited number of photos, to share links and videos, and to learn more about the people they meet. And the company mission has changed over time slightly, but it is simply to give people the power to share and make the world more open and connected. And in 2009, there were 175 million users. And I think, Krista, that's when I last gave this presentation in its earlier form to NCompass. But now there are, yes, 845 million monthly active users. That was at the end of December 2011. So that's pretty remarkable. A company called iStrategyLabs.com has been tracking Facebook and its growth and demographics since 2007, and there were 20 million U.S. users. And note, I did specify United States users because obviously we're just one small segment, the U.S. is, of Facebook's total population of users, but 20 million United States users in 2007, and now 3 years later, there are 103 plus million U.S.-based users. So again, phenomenal growth in a very short period of time, and the demographic, the 35 and over demographic now represents not quite a third of the entire user base, and ages 18 to 24 has a little more than a quarter of the total user base, and the demographic 25 to 34 has a little less than a quarter of the total user base. So basically, What this means in the adult range, 18 to 35 plus, Facebook is where your patrons already are. So it sort of behooves us to at least consider being on Facebook if it serves the purposes of our libraries. So why use it? Because they're already there. It's one more way to connect with your users in a space that isn't in the library building space. So a not so brief history of Facebook. Of course, when it was born in 2004, it was Harvard only, and the profile, it literally was a Facebook. Each person's individual profile, it was really just a directory, like a basic phone directory. It had name, contact info, picture, and just a few interests. That's it. The interests were the only, and the photo were the only non-telephone booky thing. But it was work intensive. Like you had to visit your friends' profiles to see updates. They didn't come to you. So if you want to, it really was more creepy than it is now. So if you wanted to creep on someone, a girl or a boy, because let's face it, that's what Facebook was to begin with, a dating tool, you had to go to his or her profile and creep around what had been posted. In 2005, Facebook was made available to professionals, students from other colleges, and even high school students. And then in 2006, you started getting new features, new capabilities. So Newsfeed was added, which highlighted friend information on your own page. So it pulled people you're friends with, it pulled what they were doing, and highlighted it on your page instead of their page. And it continued to evolve, and so in 2008, Facebook redesigned, and of course they're famous for redesigning, just as soon as you get comfortable in one design, the layout, the features, how they work, they will change it. And someone had, there's always a lot of complaining, and I'm one of the people who complain. Like, oh, really? Now you're going to make me switch to a timeline. Great. And I always kick my feet because I'm one of those people. Just as soon as I'm comfortable in it, they will change and make you change. But in some ways, if you think about it, it's not any different than any other commercial product that we use every day. Like, how many times has Pepsi morphed into something else, or Coke, or Dr. Pepper, or whatever the case may be? They have to change their features, their style, their visual appeal, so that they remain new, fresh, and relevant. So Facebook is comparable to that. So in 2008, the wall became a big step in the direction of helping people share immediate experiences with one another. So you could post things on other people's walls, and then continues morphing until 2010. There's a more googly approach to organizing your connections. 2011, of course, timeline came into being, and I'm not sure what the latest is, but I think that eventually they will force everyone to switch to timeline. I may be wrong, don't quote me on that, but according to Zuckerberg, timeline will be all your stories, all your apps, a new way to express who you are as time goes by. It will automatically help users by saving the important items and shrinking the lesser ones. And by referring to important items, what Zuckerberg means is those things that are important life events. So Zuckerberg has some big aspirations to make timeline sort of be our online cyber scrapbook of our lives. So who knows where it will go in the future, but that is where it is right now. All right. The value of Facebook. Hopefully you all think that Facebook might have some role to play in your relationship with your library users and patrons. Some people, of course, think that it is not helpful, that it really has no place. I think that it does, and I think it can also be used as an instructional tool. It can be used as a reference tool, and we'll go through some of those things. But I think Facebook has value, and again, it's an institution by institution based decision that you'll have to make. Just as with anything else, you have to decide, does this make sense for our library, our staff, our patrons, our users, or doesn't it? And if it doesn't, then don't do it. Don't do it just to be there, basically. So the basic value to me is that it's one more place, as I said, that you can translate your institutional self into an online presence or an entity. And as we all know, technology has it's broken down the barriers of brick and mortar so that you can have everything right at the tips of your fingertips, and basically, your library, if it plays a part in your life, should be one of those things at your fingertips. It also allows you to make connections with your patrons, your users, your colleagues, similar institutions, other entities that are based on your existing or real-world contacts. So I see Kathy Tooker is in the audience, and I see Mo Kimona, and I know both of these people through regional library systems. Kathy as one of the administrators of a regional library system, Mo as a fellow member of the same regional library system I belong to, that Perkins Library belongs to. And what Facebook does is allow us to, they're both my Facebook friends, and it allows us to be in touch and to see what we're all doing professionally, personally, with our libraries, etc., in a way that just isn't going to happen or isn't likely to happen in real life, because we don't have time, we're not on the phone talking to one another all of the time, etc. So based on real-world contacts, it's a great way to keep those connections alive. It's also a great way to participate in our profession according to similar interests, activities, goals. So, for example, I have friends on Facebook that I've done committee work with on the national level, and again, these are people who live in, Virginia, Colorado, San Francisco, California. They're people who I would not have as much contact with at all, but because Facebook allows us so easily and effortlessly to connect with each other, to work in common on things, it's just a nice way to stay in touch. It's also a great way to share content and to interact. So your patrons and your staff and your users, all of your constituents can comment, they can contribute, they can engage, and it's amazing how you find connections among your connections. And I glossed over one of the pieces on the timeline where it really, Facebook really, if you think of it as these are my friends and I know this person and these are the friends of that person, it really is about connections, and you can draw one big crazy, tree of how everyone, it's like the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, except less glamorous because we're less glamorous than Kevin Bacon, and universal. So you can see those connections, and it's kind of interesting sometimes to note those connections and to work off of them. All right, so in 2009, tech guru David Lee King predicted that social networks will someday be like air, and they already are. They're integrated seamlessly into our lives, and that 3 things are needed to make those social networks in the air, like the air, work effectively. The first is a strong identity, who you are. The second is an address book or a pool of contacts, who you know. And the third is activities, promoting what you do. And as I've said before, Facebook is just one way to experiment with integrating social media or networks into your library. You know, you could have a Twitter feed, and now, of course, I don't tweet, but students of mine who tweet, now Facebook and other social media are growing so that they work more integrated. So you can have your social media settings sync up so that if you push something out as a tweet, it also gets posted on your Facebook page. And again, it's just a matter of catching your patrons, being where they are. So I'm not recommending going all out and you know, joining every single social media tool. I think it's important to pick one that you think you can do well and to maintain it. So using these 3 things, identity, oh, my slide's not moving, there we go. Identity, user contacts, and activities, we can, that's sort of how we built our Facebook page. So first, of course, identity. Basically, it's who you are. So you know how to do this. Libraries and librarians are very adept and skilled at translating the essence of your library, of who you are, who your patrons are, why you're there, how they can use you, why they should be using you. So you just translate that into a Facebook page that speaks volumes about your information. So you can have your static information. You have your users or your fans. You can publicize your events. It's where you can put photos and video, including tutorials. It's where your users and your staff can interact on the wall. It's where you can post updates of what you're doing, so that all of these things show who you are on Facebook. So our Facebook group is kind of clunkily named, but I don't want to change it because that's how people know us. And it's also, when we started Facebook, I worked with student assistants at the time with their input because it just seemed to make sense to me. They were already there. I was a new user. And a group of our workers named our page, I Recline on Couches, Living on Coffee, and JSTOR, Friends of Perkins Library, because these are hallmarks of Perkins Library: couches, coffee, databases. And at the time, JSTOR was the largest. So anyway, the second part after you have your page is who you know. So we started with 2 members, Bob and I, both staff, and we have grown to all staff members are on Facebook as of last fall. So it's taken probably 5-6 years to get everyone on board. And we've increased from 325 in our group to 681 in 2012. And actually that would not be correct anymore. Krista, here's some homework for you. If you can go to our page and see how many members we have. I know that we picked up some new members during our National Library Week contest, which is another great way to be growing your Facebook page. So how did we do this? We did it by hook, crook, coercion, any way we could get them, including Facebook badges on our web page, which that's what this awkward thing over here is, the white thing. Word of mouth, computer lab signage. So we put just little small computer tags that say, hey, join our Facebook group page. We put it on all of our library literature, our brochures, our flyers, our training handouts, our tour orientation stuff. We pimped it to colleagues on campus, statewide and nationally. Of course, we have all of our individual personal friends and family. Of course, they care about us, and our jobs and our libraries are a huge part of our lives, and so they want to be connected to that too. We have our student assistants and our library groupies, and yes, we do have them. They're the smart kids. We have media outlets, so we do things like Hastings College announcements, the Hastings College media. Anytime we can enlist a story about social media or about the library in general, we will plug that, you know, you can email us, Facebook us, whatever. We'll plug that we're out there. And then professional associations or entities like Hastings College Broncos. We have a local bakery that's a favorite, Back Alley Bakery, Nebraska Library Association, other libraries. So basically, everyone you know in every way you know the person, from personal to student body to alumni to whatever. Krista, do we have a
yes. Right now you have 786 members.
Oh my gosh. So
and it actually says 106 new. I don't know what they consider new, what the time frame is for
that's
that. But
probably within the last 2 weeks. During our national, that's amazing.
When you really, yep, so 786 is what you're up to, yeah.
So this is about 100 people growth within the last 6 weeks, I would say, which is phenomenal. That's great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So it's all about connections. You have staff, we have staff, students, teams, patrons, users, community members. You have colleagues, former people from the first category, so staff members who have retired, students who have graduated, teens who are in college, patrons who no longer live in your community, that sort of thing. And you have professional association co-members on the state, regional, national level. You have friends of friends, and you'd be surprised how many people you know, it used to, I'm not sure where it is now, but just as when one of your friends, it will say you have so many friends in common, there used to be a tag over where you could see a group and see how many of your friends joined that group, and you'd be amazed. You know, students will say, yeah, I didn't know you had a Facebook group until so-and-so told me she was on it. And so just word of mouth and being there. But the real meat is what you do. So once you have your page set up, once you have members invested in it, an audience, this is where the true value resides. As I've said, and I keep repeating, Facebook gives you one more place to carry out the core activities that you already do. So you're already doing programming, you're already providing services such as reference, you're already giving library instruction, you already do PR or visibility things in your communities or to your segments of users, and you already connect with patrons. So Facebook just gives us another way to push that information out. So in my mind, the way I sort of have it segmented, activities, we show what we do on Facebook. So we inform and announce. So again, things like spring break hours, contests, things like that. We publicize our events, and we keep track of event RSVPs. And I love, love, love RSVP, the event capability on Facebook, because not only can you get a semi-accurate account of who will be coming to the library for that event, but it also allows people who can't be there. It allows those stakeholders who, alumni or, past retired staff members who live across the world, it allows them to participate. Obviously, they're not going to come for your banned book reading, but they can see what you're doing and they can say, oh my gosh, that looks so fun. I wish I could be there. Or this is what my library is doing. This is how we're spending National Library Week, celebrating libraries. So again, it opens up to more than just picking up the phone or individual correspondence with someone. It's inclusive is what I'm trying to say. Reference and other services, so we have information on there. We typically don't get a lot of reference questions on Facebook. We tend to get them more email, text, Facebook chat maybe, but when we get a really good question that it's likely that a lot of people have this question, we will post it on Facebook, like we got this really great question, here's the answer. So you can showcase or advertise those services on Facebook. As I've said, it's a great place to network, collaborate, connect professionally. I am a member of multiple, I'm a member of the American Library Association think tank Facebook group, and it's sort of like an old-style online mailing listserv, except it isn't. You can, well, I guess it is. I take that back, because with mailing lists, with online listservs, I tend to scan, and if what's in the email doesn't pertain to me that day, I just delete it, and so you get a notification that someone has posted something new, and it might be everything from, look, I have this problem in my library, to how would you fix it, or it could be, I'm researching this, I need a partner, I'm interested in someone who has this to offer, that sort of thing, or it could be silly. Like sometimes someone will propose a photo contest, like best mug of coffee or something. And again, it's everything. It's working, it's connecting, it's your 5-minute laugh break, that sort of thing. Engage and discuss, as I've said. Again, it's a conversation and the end is open. And it's also a great place to showcase and brag, which we all need to do more of on behalf of our libraries. All right, and I've sort of mentioned some of these. You should, of course, include your general library and contact info, your hours of operation, your special events, your contests, interesting current events or news. We also post our new acquisitions or equipment or services. So when we get new laptop computers or notepads or flip cams that are available for checkout, we will put a note on our Facebook page. We also routinely, like in library literature or research literature, anywhere that any one of us comes across a time-saving research or study tip or trick, we will put it there, or something thought-provoking. We will put the link and start a conversation about that particular issue. So I don't know how well you can see this, but I grabbed 2 out of 3, and I was 2 out of the 3 to post, but I came across a 10 spelling checker secrets for Microsoft Word, which, who can't benefit from that? Everyone in the academic community is basically using Microsoft Word, and so it gives, ways to maximize spell check. David McCarthy is our college chaplain, and he posted on our library page about a community film series, and so that's good. It's an announcement, a community building thing. And then my third one was Happy Freedom of Information Day, and I included a link on FOI Day. Events and RSVPs, as I said, creating events allows you to spread the word very easily to members of your Facebook group and others. It allows you to track who is coming. It allows you to garner participation even if it's remotely. And you can see in February we had the 200th birthday party for Charles Dickens, and it was very well attended. We had media from 2 different towns. We had public librarians, we had school librarians locally, in addition to our own campus population. So that was great. And probably without Facebook, those additionals would not have been there. So again, one more way. With events and RSVPs, we do things pretty regularly. Like we have our annual band books readouts or observations. We usually have a Halloween contest and observance. Sometimes we do random things like gingerbread cookie decorating and paper snowflake cutting. We always have a contest for National Library Week, and when I did a variant of this presentation for the NLA Paraprofessionals meeting in early April, you can see I said, not sure what we're doing yet for this year, and it was like a week away. And I asked for people to send brilliant ideas to me, and I actually got people from the last conference who sent ideas to me, and I was going to use one of them, and then I didn't have enough time, so it's in the hopper for next time. But I ended up having a short story contest, a 6-word contest, and I'll get to that in a second.
I saw. Yeah, I was hoping you.
Library all-nighters at the end of every.
I was there at the paraprofessionals. I was there at the paraprofessionals meeting. I was hoping you got something good, and then I saw your short story things going on the Facebook page. So that was very cool. That even short notice, you can come up with something.
Yes, and I have the other ideas in the hopper for later. I just didn't have enough time to implement them. One was one that came to me was of a bucket list contest, and so to put together displays of bucket lists, like fantastic things you might do, and then to ask people to post their top 3 things on their bucket list that they want to do before they die, which I think is great. I just didn't have enough time to get a full-fledged display and that sort of thing going, so I have that in the hopper for the future. And then we also typically have game nights every semester, and again, once a student has RSVP'd or a faculty member or the president of the college has RSVP'd electronically to your Facebook invite that, yes, I'm going to be there, other people who are friends with that person can see, oh, well, hey, that's where my friends are going to be. Cool. And then they'll want to come as well. All right. Recent events, we've had Mustache Monday. We've only had that one time. It was great. We had mustache shaped cakes and cookies, and we had little mustaches that you could take with you and wear, and so that was fun, just something random, get people in the library. We had our 200th birthday party for Charles Dickens. Most recently, we had the National Library Week 2012 short story contest, and I posted it, I think, I posted it on Friday the 6th, and So a couple days before National Library Week, and then it got, and basically it was a 6-word short story. You could enter as many times as you wanted to, and all the stories were supposed to be on the national theme, You Belong at Your Library. And I pilfered this contest idea from atyourlibrary.org, and they gave some examples. And so my challenge, my entry was NLW contest, 6 words, compose now. We got all sorts of fun things like libraries, like the internet but organized, I can breathe at my library, let the pages be your wings, he walked in, never came out, all book piles are beautiful messes. We got 56 story submissions by 27 people, ranging from staff, faculty, students, Friends of Perkins Library, regional library system members, our new librarian who is in Iowa and won't be here until the fall, and community users. So it was a very, very easy way to celebrate and involve our users with almost zero money. I have yet to get together a panel of judges and judge them, but I have a variety of prizes. And last year, since we opened, the contest to the world, we even mailed prizes to people, which is great if you can do it, but it doesn't. You don't have to. So actually, I just said I need a panel to judge them, but I think this one is the winner, no matter who I get to judge. Susan Franklin beats all other librarians. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 words. How great is that for a short story?
Perfect.
No one else is happy with me. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, so future events. We were going to do a Meatball Mustache Monday. We did already a National Library Workers Day Appreciation for Student Assistants. So we usually do some variation of candy, a little treat. This year I bought ALA rubber band bracelets that have the word read in multiple languages. We're going to have a game night. I need to get to work on that. We're going to have a library all-nighter, and in the future, I hope to have Tuesday Trivia's kind of stealing the idea from Nebraska Library Commission way back when they had trivia. Was it a Tuesday? I don't remember, but it was trivia, and that was great fun. So that's what we're doing in the future. I'm not going to dwell. I'm running out of time. I'm not going to dwell on these things, but reference and other services, there are lots of ways you can use Facebook as a tool. So you can use the inbox messaging and the Facebook chat to answer questions. It's amazing how often I will get a student Facebook chat bubble pop up saying, I'm having a heck of a time with Academic Search Premier. Here's what I'm looking for. It won't let me access this. And I'll say, okay, just a sec, let me go see, and I'll say, where are you? I'm in the library, in the back of in the back lab. So even though they're right here in the library, it's a time saver and a no-brainer for them to see that I'm on Facebook, to open up the chat, and to get, it saves them time. They don't have to leave. They don't have to worry about their computer getting snaked by someone, whatever. So that's another way. Facebook has all sorts of applications that people have built that allow, like we have ours synced to JSTOR, and our user population can download our JSTOR widget so that they can be in Facebook and search their JSTOR database holdings while they're doing it. Other people can't, they can. Ditto with WorldCat. I would like to have our library catalog widget in there, but that's not something that I can do myself. It's also an opportunity to post library guides or pathfinders for common things like using a database or whatever the case may be, reserving a room or whatever. Information, it's a place for database tips, tricks, and tutorials. And I mentioned before, we highlight notable reference questions for everyone to see. And again, my presentation is somewhat linking back to the beginning because Facebook is all about networking, collaborating, and connecting, in this case, professionally. So these are our segments. We have our campus and all of the elements that make that up, including alumni, parents of current students. We have local, so community members, other Hastings libraries. We have regional. We have statewide connections. We have national connections, including interest groups such as college and research libraries, intellectual freedom. And then there are all sorts of fun groups like library secrets, reading is sexy. So it can be entertaining or it can be useful, however you want to use it. And we engage and discuss people by our wall, the inbox, messaging, the chat. We solicit suggestions, comments, feedback, and post them. We debate current issues and news items. So one of the things a couple weeks ago, every time someone prognosticates about how the printed word is going to be dead tomorrow, it just infuriates me and I can't sleep for days because I don't want to read on a screen forever and ever. And so we'll debate current issues, like put a whatever article up, New Yorker article, saying that students in the next year aren't going to look at books at all, and I'll say, do you think this is true, or whatever, and people discuss. You can poll your members, so a kind of thing like if we started a book discussion group on Tuesdays at 7 p.m., would anyone show up? It's where you can encourage tuning in or having a voice, and sometimes, as you know, the more shy segments will, of our populations will take advantage of a forum like Facebook where they don't directly have to speak to anyone. So it's another way, and you can share information and research related jokes, videos, links, etc. And we do a lot of that as well because we can't be no fun all the time. We have to be some fun some of the time. So I picked some things from our wall that illustrate the things I've been talking about. So announcements. We always do something with each month, and you'll find pictures of our displays that tie into those months. You'll find the events like the Dickens 200th birthday party. You'll find pictures of that on our Facebook page. Some of the questions we've posed: what are your contenders for bad bookmarks, as in what are some of the things that you use or your patrons use and leave in books that do not really a good bookmark make? And we got some very interesting, like someone said money, which I'm thinking it's bad if you use money for a bookmark and turn the book back in, but it's not so bad if you're on the receiving side. But yeah, raise your hand if you like fanfic. Do you know what a shipper is? And if you don't know what a shipper is, you should definitely research that. It's a whole segment of people who write and create fan fiction about popular characters, shows, cartoons, that sort of thing. And one of the recent questions, are you guilty of judging by Facebook cover photos? So instead of a book by its cover, do you judge by cover photos? We post links, as I said. So I mentioned the Microsoft Word spell checker. There's a great, someone pointed out to me or shared it, and I reshared it, a spoken word poem, and it's called I Want a Girl Who Reads, and it's absolutely eloquent and lovely. It's about, you know, Yeah, looks are great. It's your basic Shakespearean stuff, except spoken word and modern day. It's a place where you can engage in nostalgia or love for our library. So people recently posted, I miss the feel of that library. Even though I currently make my living at another library, Perkins will forever claim my deepest loyalties, which is always great to hear. Showcase and brag, again, photo albums, displays, notes. It's a place to tell and show people what you're doing in your library and how you are creating connections. So back to David Lee King's 1, 2, 3, who you are, who you're connected to, and what you're doing. Facebook basically, to me, translates into increased visibility, promotion, connection, participation, and goodwill for your library. So for us, it's a win-win, and I hope to see your library showing off on Facebook soon. Do we have any questions?
Okay. Thank you very much, Susan. That was we use Facebook a lot here as well, and I always love learning more about it and seeing what other places are doing, and also being able to share that with other people who maybe aren't using it yet or just started using and aren't really sure what the heck they're getting into.
Absolutely.
Does anybody have any questions, comments, suggestions about what you're doing on your Facebook page possibly? You can type them into the questions section of the GoToWebinar interface, and Susan and I will see it in there. Aha. We do have a question from someone about for a city. For a city, do you think it is better for each department to have their own Facebook page, or do you think the city should have one page for all city information?
That's a hard one. You know, I'm not really sure, and one thing that is not an issue for Hastings College, which I'm happy to say because it makes my life easier, no one micromanages our Facebook page. It's ours. There are different segments of Hastings College that have their own pages. We really, I don't want to admit this, but we really don't have a Facebook policy, and we're just too small. But that would be something, you know, that probably public libraries would need to make sure that your Facebook page is congruent with whatever city policy. And I personally think that each department should have its own, because, I mean, no one is going to take ownership of one city page, I don't think. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think for my opinion would be it may depend from city to city and how your city is run. Do you have a city manager or someone in the city who is very much on top of this and, as you just described, Susan, micromanaging or very much in control on what all of the city departments do, and then they can consolidate it into one? That is a way to go. However, each department having their own would be good too, because if I am in a city, for example, and I just want to know what's the library doing, do I want to have to filter through all of the stuff the city has posted just to find the library postings or the Department of Road postings or whatever? Probably not.
Yeah.
So that would definitely be something that may vary depending on how your city is organized and what you want to be doing with your page. And I've seen it done various ways. Some places, cities have their own and they post city-related stuff, but then each department also has, someone has decided there to have their own as well. And what you also mentioned earlier about not having a Facebook policy, I know you guys jumped into Facebook pretty early when it was just people were just figuring out, and so did we here at the commission. And I know since then there have been things posted, and David Lee King, who you mentioned, has also said this in on his blog, that for all of these social networking type things, and you actually did say this earlier, I do know, don't just go in and set one up for the sake of having it. Have a
Right.
plan, have a policy. Before you start doing it, figure out what you're going to do it for. Why are you going into this particular place, this particular social networking site? Have a goal, have a plan, have a policy for how you have your organization, have a policy for how you're going to use it before you start using it. Like you guys, like you said, Susan, we did not do that here at the commission either, but we were also
Right.
just jumping on these things as they were all coming out, a few years ago, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and just
Right.
jumping in, head first and saying, let's figure it out. Oh, wait, we had to figure this out before, and nobody knew what to do at the then. It was a little too early
Right.
in this whole kind of, world we're in now. But now I think so many places are doing it. You can say, we would like to, and let's step back first and figure out how are other people doing it, how should we be doing it, what's been successful, what hasn't, and you can create your policy and your procedures first, and then go use that to go in and create your presence in all these places.
Absolutely. And David Lee King he's kind of, I think he's a guru when it comes to social media because he is out there blogging about it, researching it, doing it, trying it out, and he is a great resource for the more if you're starting at ground zero and need policies in place and that sort of thing. There are tons of resources available. And also, I like just going to other, just put public library or college library in the search bar and just looking at what other people have done, how they're using it. Because one of two things will happen. You'll only go, oh, that's not good. Let's not do that, or this is amazing. We can do this.
We want to emulate this one, yeah.
Right. So either way, experiment around, and maybe it's something that, if you're already there personally before and you're thinking about putting your library out there, do that sort of experimenting, that sort of creeping, do some research beforehand. But yeah, don't set up a profile that is just going to be dead.
Yes, you have to have a plan for how it's going to be filled with information and be a active site, not a static. It's not, social networking sites are not like your website, which generally speaking is more of a static type thing. It does have some updating and things to it as well, but these are all about the updating. And if you don't, people will notice it. If they see so-and-so public library joined Facebook in 2009, and then there's been nothing since then, that's not good.
Not good.
But what you just said earlier, use your personal profile to explore first. Create one just for yourself before you get your organization or your library into it, and use that to explore Facebook to see what other places are doing before you go then and create the library's one and put it out there for everyone.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the person who asked about the city having one says this is the paragraph in their policy that they're having trouble with, an issue with. They have a web team that keeps the website and all social media sites, I assume, for the whole town, so they're trying to figure out what to do about that. And like I said, I think it's going to depend. You're going to have to decide what your town wants to do. If you have someone on the city side who's in charge of everything, maybe you don't have a choice. That's where the control is, and you just have to figure out how to work with it. Or maybe you need to speak for the library and say, maybe it would be better if we did it this way, and we each did our own, with maybe the city person monitoring what each organization, each department is doing on their own pages, keeping an eye on it, but at least each one having its own presence, its own URL that people can go to just to find out what's the library doing, what's this department doing, what's that department doing. Something you have to work out and figure out, yeah. So, any other questions, comments, suggestions? We do have some time. We did start a little late. We were figuring out all our technical issues at the beginning. Well, waiting to see if anybody does. I am going to take back presenter control from you, Susan, because I'm going to show what you were talking about. You asked about your the group for your reclining on couches page. This is my Facebook page where I went to look up what hers was, and over here on the left-hand side, any groups that I am a member of are over here, and because I just looked at yours, you're right here at the top. Oh wait, that's not it. Where were you? You're at the bottom. You were at the top. Ah, things change. Anyway, here it is. I recline on couches, living on coffee and JSOR, and yep, 786 members.
That's awesome.
When I was in here before, it did tell me how there were new ones, but I think since I've saw that, it doesn't remind me again. So, and here's the one that you just recently posted. What fictional character would you most like to meet and why? And you got a few comments of people saying who they'd want to meet. Yeah.
Yeah, and I did not know who is Perrin Ibarra. An adorable, lovable. Who is Perrin Ibarra? I don't recognize where that character is from.
I don't know.
I got to figure that out.
Wheel of Time.
Oh.
Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time.
I have not read it, so.
I have not either, and I know lots of my friends have, and I'm sure they're scolding me now. How could you not know who that is? But that's Robert Jordan, which is a huge set of books. Yeah, The Wheel of Time.
Okay, well, there you go.
Something new to read.
Yes.
Okay, it doesn't look like any other comments have come in while we were going over and showing this to you. Does anybody have any last-minute comments, questions, suggestions, any ideas before we do wrap up for the morning? Yeah, didn't look like it. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Susan. That was great to have an update. I did go back and look, and you were right. It was 2009, the last time you were on with us to do anything about Facebook. So,
wow.
Yeah, things change, and definitely need to get an update to it. So thank you very much. The session was recorded, and it will be posted probably later today, along with the PowerPoint slides. If you could email them to me, Susan, that would be great. I will put them up. Yep. And any links or things that Susan mentioned, I was just thinking by myself a note. I'll make sure to include a link to David Lee King's website, blog, so you can keep up on him if you want to. And anything else that was mentioned, I'll be including as well when we get the recording going. So thank you, Susan.
Thanks.
And I hope you will all join us next week, where our next Wednesday's NCompass Live is our regular monthly Tech Talk with Michael Sowers, the Technology Innovation Librarian here at the Nebraska Library Commission. And we have joining us next week two librarians from the Mokena, Illinois Community Public Library District. Brian Pitchman and Dave Hess are they're in the Digital Innovation Department there, and they've been doing some really amazing things with their adding collaborative spaces and interactive things for their children's library as a start at their library there, and they're going to share with us what they've been doing there. So sign up and join us next week for Michael's Tech Talk and with Brian and Dave. So thank you very much, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.